journalist, your questions are welcome. Frank Nero will coordinate that. You raise your hand, you'll be given the microphone, you mention your name, your station, and then your question. Thank you.
Okay, I can see a hand there.
Hello, Coach. My name is Evans Sofochu. I work with City FM, City TV. My question is two. One, what sort of Black Stars or brand of football are we to expect from your Black Stars? Two, you've been around the team for a year now. What's your response to allegations of interference in the technical team's work from the GFA hierarchy? Thank you.
Okay, so on the second question first, all I can say is that I am the new head coach, so anything that you speak of before my time here is very much something that you are bringing up and is in the past. All I can speak about is my communication and correspondence that I had with the association in my time being involved so far. And I can only speak highly of that lines of communication and correspondence and the support that I've had from the association. So this is one that I think it's hugely important, because for the Black Stars to do well and achieve what we want to achieve, this is mostly about the players and the players performing, but it's about the technical staff, it's about the supporters around, but it's also very much about the support from the association. And it's very difficult to go in the direction you want to if you don't have all of them things aligned. And I can only speak of my experiences so far. And I said the communication that I've had with the association has been very good. As regards what type of team we will see, what we want to see a winning team, because there can be and there will be lots of questions on a style of football, players that play, why is this player not playing and why is this player playing? Are you too defensive? Are you too offensive? Ultimately, what we all want to see is winning football. And that starts with the correct preparation of the team, using the players to the best of their ability, and picking a team that suits the type of players that we have. So I think we all, as coaches, start on the same level, same starting point. And the starting point is to put together a group of players.
Yeah, or you think you were successful. And finally, how would your coaches or your coaching staff and your players describe you as a coach? How would they describe you?
Suggest that we keep our questions short and probably one question per person, so that the rest could also get a chance and ask their questions. Thank you, Kwabena Obin Efri, for your question. Harry, do we take the questions or he responds?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead with the response, Coach.
Yes, if you're asking me, firstly, why I am in this role, and the obvious answer to this one is because the Football Association of Ghana asked if I would do this role, and after whether I would be interested in being the next head coach. It's a role that I didn't hesitate to accept. As regards my capabilities for this role, I've been in football for a long time, not only as a head coach but also as an assistant coach. I was an assistant coach for some 14 and a half years before I was a head coach. Then went on to be a head coach, and for those that know my career as a head coach, that has been in the Championship in England, but also managed 3 teams in the Premier League in England. So I think my standing and credentials as a coach of coaching at a good level, I think is good. You know, everybody has different opinions. The difference, of course, is managing or coaching at international level and club level. And of course, there is a difference. You know, the preparation time is less. Of course, at club level, you have the players day in and day out to be able to develop a team. But this is international football, so every coach or every manager in international football has the same difficulties, and we have to get round them. What I have is, I say, a lot of experience as a head coach, and I will have to use all of them experiences to determine the way forward for the team, to pick the team, to pick the squad, the tactics of the team. These are things that I'm used to. And also adjusting to a less period of preparation. You know, we had players that played yesterday. So in effect, we'll train on Tuesday, we'll train on Wednesday and play a game on Thursday. So these are the things that I would like to think that my years in experience have allowed me to do. As regards my role as technical advisor, then my role predominantly was to support the technical staff, to be a sounding board for the technical staff and the head coach. And I think overall there were disappointments in the World Cup. There's no doubt about that. But I think we had a lot of pluses. You have to always break it down, and you have to look at the games one by one. And I think out of the three games, obviously the biggest disappointment was losing against Uruguay and the manner in which we exited. But I think most people would have looked at the Portuguese game. The important thing is always here and now. We have two games this week, and this is what the most important thing is. But I also have to have an eye on development. And I think I will be judged on a way a team play, what I've made from the players that we have, whether I've managed to get the best out of the players that we have, and have a support, and this is the most important thing, that have a support that enjoy seeing their team play. Now, what is judged as success and failure will be perceived in different ways. Ultimately, at this moment, it's about winning 2 games this week. It's about qualification to get to AFCON, and it's doing and preparing the team as well as we can from AFCON and performing the best that we can in an AFCON tournament. And it's normal. It's normal that you will be judged on it.
All right, thank you. Okay, I think it deserves more attention.
Squad for the Angola double header, and then knowing the squad is a different thing, but knowing the expectation of the country is also a different thing. How does the Nigeria game, especially in Kumasi, and the atmosphere, compare? I know you've played in some big stadia, you've managed some big teams. On Tyneside, it's a very, very mad football city. How does that pressure, especially in games in Kumasi, compare to what you've had experience as a player and then a manager?
Okay, so firstly I'll speak about the squad itself. I think in my time I've been involved, and I looked at this very roughly this morning. There have been a lot of new players that have come into the squad. So if I think of the dynamics of the team, and when I pick the squad, is to try to incorporate the best I can with the new players that have come into the squad, and of course the existing squad members. I can only ever pick 25 players, and I think most of you would know that we have some injuries. So some players that have come into the squad that wasn't in the initial squad. But it's that balance, and what I didn't want to do was because what I can do is, if I'm looking at the amount of talent that we have out there, I potentially could have brought in, another new 3, 4, 5 players that have not been involved in my period of time. But we have to have some consistency in the squad. And we spoke about going out of a World Cup in the last game, but we have to remember, this is a team that got to the World Cup when there were numerous very, very good teams, African teams, that didn't get there. So the starting position is good. And so with the introduction of a lot of new players in my period of time here, I have to look for some type of consistency in the squad. The game in Kumasi, yes, and I think it was difficult for me. It's my first time in Kumasi, my first time at a game. And I think when you're there, around that type of atmosphere, it's difficult for it not to affect you. And it does. How vibrant it was, the build-up to the game, the intensity of the game itself, but the intensity of our crowd. And I have no doubt that the influence that the crowd played on the team and the head coach. So this is something that's always important for us. And you are right, I've played in big stadiums before and big atmospheres before. And you are always reliant on that atmosphere to get behind the team. And it does make a difference. So certainly as regards what I saw there, yes, it was something that was wonderful for me to see and something that I, to this day, remember.
All right, okay.
Oh, thank you very much. My name is Stephen Izando. I work with Love FM and Isha FM of the Multimedia Group Limited. Congrats, Chris, once again, and I wish you well. In your short stint with Ghana Football as technical advisor of the Black Stars, what have you made of local football? I'm talking about the Ghana Premier League. And what is the possibility that going forward, we have some of the players playing the Ghana Premier League featuring in your future call-ups? Thank you very much.
Firstly, what I can tell you is from the day that I've been involved with the association, which is, say, about 1 year ago, I was made aware and stressed upon how important the local game is to the association and to us as technical staff. So this I am very conscious of, and of course in my period of time so far we have had some players that have made the squad, okay, from our local game. So I certainly will not underestimate it. Where I think I can add value in my new role is that, I will be spending more time in Ghana. I will be watching more games. I will be attending more clubs and getting to know the league far better than I was perhaps given the opportunity to before. And the only reason I wasn't before was because our concentrations very much were on a World Cup campaign. But I am constantly being made aware of players that are doing well. Of course, the league structure and the teams that are doing well. And certainly in my new role as head coach, I will be paying very much attention to not only the players that are doing well, but the game here in general, because I think it is important. I think it's important that any national team has a good national league. And I will do my very best to make sure that I see as much football here as possible.
Coach, congrats on your appointment. Sorry for the loss of your father. My name is Richard Achampo. I work with Akoma FM and the Media General. Coach, short questions. Baba Idrisu was a constant member of this team until unfortunately he got injured and missed the World Cup. He's recovered, he's playing, he was out of your squad. Any special reasons why Baba Idrisu missed out on the call-up? Then what can you do to help as in coaching, you are the head of our national team, A. Do you have any responsibilities to help the other national teams or to even help coaches in general in Ghana? Finally, as I said, you lost your father, sorry. How important was your father to your coaching career, and is there going to be any effect once he's gone?
Firstly, thank you very much for your condolences. My father played a very big part of my life. When I can tell you now, when my father came to England, he wasn't a fanatical football supporter. He wasn't, and he probably grew more knowledgeable as he got older, because it wasn't only myself that was a professional footballer, also my brother. So he grew more knowledgeable. I think that our development as young players wouldn't have been through my dad. He was a very supportive dad, but he, as I said, particularly in the early years, wasn't so much of a football fanatic, but that he grew on. So mostly with my dad, it's about the support network that he's always given me. So as in general, as opposed to just in football. As regards Baba Idrissa, as with so many players in the squad, you have decisions to make, so many. And for Baba Idrissa, we could speak about probably another 5, 6, 7 players that I had to consider closely before making the decision. So, 25 players in a squad will all be my own personal decisions. And they can be tight decisions. A way of playing, one player is a little bit different, has some different qualities to a different player. The mix in the squad, if I'm looking at players that we have in the squad, who will be a correct mix to somebody that perhaps would be playing in a similar type position to them. So these are all very, very tough decisions. And I can tell you, this was a tough decision. But as I said, I can only pick 25 players, and there are players that will miss out. Yeah. Yes. Yes, I mean, in my, what I have to do in my time here is, I've already spoken about trying to attend as many games as I can from the local leagues. Also, throughout the FA, we have the different age group teams, also the ladies teams, and I think we all know the prominence now of the ladies game, ladies football. So I will try to do as much as I can. It will always be about getting the correct balance. We have a huge number of the squad that play in Europe. So for me, it will be about getting the correct balance between opportunities to, of course, see players that are playing in Europe, but also players that are playing here in our local teams, and of course our other international teams. So in the period of time that I'm here, I will try to do as much work as I can.
Good morning, Chris, and also accept my condolences. I'm sitting down here, so that my condolences. An opportunity for you this afternoon to see a local game. There's a Ghana Premier League game between Kim Faisal and BBNE Gold Stars at Abrankese. I'm sure the communications director will bring you there to watch and see the level of football on the domestic front, which will give you a good perspective of the barrier or the gap between the local league and, of course, the level you're looking at the Black Stars. And then also, Chris Hughton's legacy, your fingerprints, your footprints. When we talk about managers, you always say that this is his style. That is how we know Zidane or Ancelotti or any national team coach. Chris Hughton, how would you describe yourself, and what kind of legacy would you leave for the Black Stars in a few years' time when you've won a few trophies, hopefully?
Okay, thank you very much. So on the first question, I am aware of the game today. Unfortunately, I will not be able to attend. For those that know, I was here in Kumasi for most of the day yesterday in a very busy international period. We have players that have arrived that will train today, and we have players that will arrive tomorrow. So I think certainly it's a game that I would like to attend to, and if the circumstances were different and I had more time, then certainly I would attend. But at this moment, having spent so much time away from the home base yesterday and this morning, then I need to be back for the training group this afternoon. As regards the legacy, it's always a very difficult question, because what I am conscious of is results, and I'm very conscious of, in the media, supporters, fans, everything's the same. You win games, you're good. You lose games, you're not so good. These are the things that will never ever change. So, a legacy is about a way of playing. I understand the type of players that we have in the team, and I think we have a lot of technically talented players in the team. But I'm also conscious of what the supporters want most is to win football matches, and you have to go about your tactics in a different way to when you are playing one of the top teams than when you are not playing one of the top teams. So a legacy would be, I hope, that Chris came in for whatever period that is, was seen to work as hard as he can to make sure that a Black Stars team with good, quality, talented players achieve the best that they can achieve.